I went on a trip with my 3 friends one day. It was a road trip and we had to travel for several days. We were very tired and decided to stay for the night in a hotel. When we entered into a city, we found a hotel. I immediately pulled over and we went inside. We got a room on the 14th floor of that hotel. Everything in that hotel was normal until I noticed something. The 13th floor was completely sealed off. No one could enter the floor. Even the lift wouldn't stop on the 13th floor. I found it very strange and I felt very uneasy. After we entered our room, my friends started having fun, but I was silent the whole time. I knew something was wrong. I could feel it. And suddenly one of my friends started talking about the 13th floor and told everyone that he was scared. Everyone started mocking him and started making fun of him. But he insisted that there was a reason behind all this. The other one of my friends said it was all nonsense and superstition. The argument went on until one of them suggested to actually go and check the floor. It was not allowed for anyone to go out there, so we decided to sneak in at midnight. I was not having a good feeling about the whole idea. And soon enough, at midnight, everyone got ready. The only way we could enter the 13th floor was through stairs. As we got closer to the stairs, I started hearing faint whispers, and I felt like my whole body was getting cold and numb. It was a feeling that I couldn't quite describe. When we finally got to the stairs, we found that it was blocked with some barriers. My friends then tried to move it, and after many attempts, they managed to move it slightly. The space was so small that we could barely fit in. One by one, we got to the other side of the barrier, and as we entered, we noticed that it was surprisingly cold down there. The whispers got louder as we were moving forward. We then entered a room. It was completely dark and it seemed abandoned for years. But the weirdest part was, it looked like there was someone living there. As we were noticing the room, we literally heard someone running behind us. We all looked back at the same time. Everyone was creeped out. I could see that on their faces. One of my friends who wanted to prove all this wrong immediately rushed towards the door to have a look, but to his shock, there was absolutely no one. He had a confused look on his face. He asked, "How is that possible?" As there was no one else present there. We all got out of that room and started walking. We then entered some sort of a passage, and suddenly we heard a loud thump coming from a distance. And before we could even process it, the thumps got closer and closer, as if something big and heavy was walking towards us. We immediately ran out of there. We wanted to get to the stairs to get out of there, but we couldn't find it anywhere. We were completely lost. It didn't make sense as the floor wasn't that big in the first place. As we turned, we saw a shadow of a person literally standing a few feet away from us. We were all shook. After a few seconds, he just disappeared in the darkness. We knew we had to immediately get out of there. My friend ran towards the spot where the man was standing, but he was thrown out of there so violently that he landed several feet away. We immediately picked him up and sprinted out of there. After running for some time, we finally came to a stop. We didn't notice it until one of my friends pointed out that it looked like we were in a completely different place. We weren't able to recognize the surroundings. We couldn't believe what was happening. Nothing made sense. It was like we were someplace else now. We just kept on walking and continued to search for the stairs. The whispers then stopped all of a sudden. It was getting unnaturally cold. Everything just went silent. And then we saw something downright terrifying. We literally saw a dark figure forming right in front of us, and it took the shape of a human figure. It looked like it came straight out of a nightmare. It looked very angry. It stared at us, and then it screamed so loud that we couldn't hear anything for a few seconds after that. We immediately rushed out of there. After a few seconds, we saw a source of light. We ran towards it and realized that we finally found the stairs which we were looking for. We then started to get to the other side of the barrier one by one. As last one of my friends was getting to the other side, he just stopped all of a sudden. He felt something holding his legs, and the next second, something started to pull him. We held his hand and started pulling him. We started hearing loud screams coming from the other side, and after a while, we finally managed to pull him out. We immediately ran to our room and took everything that we could and immediately checked out. No one uttered a single word. Everyone was completely silent. We got in the car and rushed out of there. We still couldn't figure out what did we exactly experience that night on the 13th floor.